Thank you, Lindsey Graham. He is somebody I would call an unreasonable Republican, although I would use other words for Lindsey Graham, a coward. He sold his soul. He puts himself and his job before America. Yeah. Thank you, Lindsey Graham. I'm sure the late John McCain would be very happy the way you're conducting yourself and your behavior over the last couple of years. Anyway, welcome back to the show. It is the Vegas Take. Quickly, coming up here in the 11 a.m. hour, this is going to be a lot of fun. UNLV legend, NFL legend. Oh, man. It's going to be a lot of fun. I got a lot of questions to ask for this guy. And also, we're going to ask him about his church and about his remnant ministries. The legend himself, Randall Cunningham, will be joining us in hour number 3, and we'll ask him a lot of questions about the new UNLV football hire. But as I teased it last segment, and I do talk about this from time to time, and I think it's an important conversation to have, and it's easy to distinguish disagreeing with somebody that votes for Donald Trump for the reasons that I think are somewhat reasonable in regards to policy. If you want to talk about policy with Donald Trump, and that's the reason you're not going to vote for a Democrat, then I think that is a fair discussion to have. If you are willing to admit that what the president did at the very least in this phone call with the president of the Ukraine was not reasonable, that it was not right, that it was, something that was inappropriate beneath the presidency to withhold aid with a foreign government and to bring up the Bidens in that conversation, while you might think as a Republican that it is not an impeachable offense, and that's fine. We can have this discussion. Technically, I would disagree with you, but I'm willing to have that discussion with a reasonable Republican. But there are so many unreasonable Republicans out there. And look, there are unreasonable Democrats out there as well. If a Democrat says something that is not reasonable, I'm not a Nancy Pelosi fan. I'm not a Chuck Schumer fan. I'm not even a Joe Biden fan. And I did not vote for Barack Obama. So nobody can call into the show and say, well, you know what, Brian? You attack the president every day. You're a liberal. You're a snowflake. But you wouldn't believe the messages I get on a daily basis from people that will label me a libtard, that will label me a liberal, that will call me a snowflake. Why? Because I dislike a man who cheats on his wives. I dislike a man that has unprotected sex with a porn star just a few months after his wife has a child. That I dislike a man who goes after a POW, in this case, John McCain, and he says he didn't respect him because he was captured. By the way, the same man who dodged the military and claimed he had bone spurs, and that doctor who wrote him that note, who has since passed away, his family saying that it was a bunch of crap, that he did that as a favor to the Trump family, that I dislike a man who is spoon-fed his whole life, that I dislike a man who attacks women based on their looks. Do you remember when Ted Cruz was running against Donald Trump, and Donald Trump goes on his Twitter page and puts up a picture of Melania Trump and then puts up a picture of Ted Cruz's wife, comparing looks, going after a woman based on looks? Why? Are you a snowflake? Are you a liberal? Are you a lefty because you dislike a man for those reasons? Many of my reasons have absolutely nothing to do with policy. Remember, Donald Trump, in all due respect, was a Democrat for much of his life. I don't even really consider Donald Trump a Republican. Those aren't the reasons why I dislike Donald Trump. It has nothing to do with the fact that I might support somebody on the left. It has nothing to do with that. But there are unreasonable people out there. And you know what? It breaks my heart to do this, but I'm going to do it anyway because I think it's important. The type of person that I'm talking about now. Now, Pat Cassell is a friend of mine. Let me make no mistake about it. I think he's a good guy. He's a guy that's been on this show. He's a Republican. And, he took my family out to dinner not that long ago. He's a good dude. I think he's a nice person. And trust me, I wouldn't say that about some of these other unreasonable Republicans. But I think Pat Cassell is an unreasonable Republican. And the reason why I say that, I'm looking at his Facebook page over the course of the last couple of days. He's calling the Democrats, evil. He's calling Schiff and Pelosi all liars. And he's going after Hunter Biden. Matt Gaetz, quickly, he's in there in Congress, and he's talking about Hunter Biden and his drug issues and his alcohol abuse. When Hunter Biden is the guy, when Matt Gaetz is the guy that had a DUI that put everybody's lives at risk because he decided to get into a car incapacitated. But he's the one that's going to talk about Hunter Biden, unreasonable Republican and a partisan hack. Now, I think Matt Gaetz is just an awful human being. I would not say that about Pat Cassell. But the reason why I bring this stuff up is because if you go on Twitter or you go on social media and all you do is blast the Democrats, right? They're all evil. They're all liars. They all hate this country. If you're one of those people that calls Schiff dishonest, a criminal, but you fail to recognize that our president right now is, forget about even crimes, if you fail to recognize that our president is dishonest, at the very least is a liar that cares more about himself than the American people, if you fail to recognize that the man is just not a good human being, if you can't even admit that in a conversation, then I'm sorry, but you have zero, and I mean zero, credibility. If for 8 years you went after Barack Obama and you thought he was just a horrible human being, and we've had people call in and call him Hussein Obama, and you think he's a terrorist, and you still believe he wasn't born in this country, and you think he was just horrible for the American people, but for the last couple of years you haven't criticized Donald Trump, his behavior, or any of that, then you have zero credibility, and you are a partisan hack, and either you are extremely unintelligent or you're just an ass kisser and you're wearing the Donald Trump knee pads. That is what I am talking about, and we're taking your phone calls on that. I like talking to reasonable Republicans. In fact, I enjoy it, just like I like to talking to reasonable people in general. The number to call is 702-257-5396. Again, that number if you want to be a part of this conversation, 702-257-5396 is the number to call. There are reasonable people on this planet Earth, and then there are unreasonable people. And the reason why I brought up Pat Cassell is because I think he's being completely unreasonable, going after every Democrat in the book. Everybody. Adam Schiff is the devil, right? Nancy Pelosi, they're all liars. They're all hacks. They don't care about the American people, but you sit there and you think that Donald Trump, and the reason why he brought up the Bidens in that conversation, had everything to do with corruption in the Ukraine and nothing to do with his own personal gain, for own political gain. If you believe that, you are a moron. It's one thing to disagree with somebody. It's another thing to sit there and think that all Donald Trump cares about is you and me. He doesn't care about himself. He doesn't put his family first. He puts you first because he wants to make America great again. If you're one of those people, then I'm sorry, you are unreasonable. One of those people that I would call an unreasonable Republican.
You're unreasonable if you think that Donald Trump doesn't want or wants to make the country better.
What I said is that's not what I said. You're not listening. I said you are unreasonable if you think that the president doesn't deeply care about himself and his family and doesn't put them before the country.
I have no problem with the president or anyone for that matter caring about their family.
I didn't say they can't care about their family. You're completely misconstruing what I am saying. I'm saying is in that phone call.
You're saying that he's enriching his family at the expense of the country?
That's a fact. If you look at it's a fact.
It'd be a little different if there was no smoke with this Ukraine situation, if Joe Biden didn't go on TV, what was it, 4 or 5 or 6 years ago, and say that, if this particular prosecutor is not fired within 6 hours, I'm not giving up $1 billion. If Hunter Biden wasn't getting paid $60,000 a month, if the Burisma situation didn't take place, if Ukraine probably was involved in Hillary Clinton's emails or in the whole situation with the election again, but if there was no smoke, then I would think that this would be a little odd. But considering there's a lot going on here involving Ukraine, and it's probably a corrupt government, and the money may be going to something egregious like terrorism. You don't really know where that money's going. I don't have a huge problem with him looking into it, because to me it's a standard compromise within foreign nations. Okay. But again, if this was just a conversation with maybe like a Denmark or a different country like that where none of these things had actually taken place, whether they're proven or not, but plausible, definitely smoke, and I'm assuming there's some fire, then it would be different in my opinion.
Okay, here's my problem with what you just said. And by the way, if you want to join us, the number to call 702-257-5396. Again, that number 257-5396. I have a problem with a lot of what you just said. First of all, there is no evidence. Hold on, let me finish.
There was also a very, very brief investigation with House Democrats directly involved. And I'm listening.
All right. There is absolutely no evidence, and I mean no evidence, to support the fact that Joe Biden wanted this prosecutor fired for his own personal benefit. In fact, there were many Republicans, people fail to realize this, Republicans that were speaking out and wanted this guy fired as well. Why? Because he wasn't doing enough to prevent corruption. So Republicans want to spin that. Also, number two, there is no doubt that Hunter Biden got this job. We've been through this before. He got the job mainly because his father was the vice president. there are no laws or evidence to show that they broke the law. That is number two. Number three, these conspiracy theories, okay? The Ukraine, there is no evidence, according to our CIA, the FBI, that Ukraine interfered in the 2016 elections. But any time, and I mean any time, that Vladimir Putin is put in a corner, that the Russians are put in a corner, for whatever reason, Donald Trump is wearing the Vladimir Putin knee pads, and he decides to defend an evil, murderous dictator. Let's take your phone calls. 702-257-5396. Again, 257-5396 is the number to call. Let's go to Paul. Paul, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, Paul?
Hey, how you doing?
Good.
Well,
I'm doing good.
I think I can tell how passionate you are about this whole thing. The only thing that I would say you're misguided about is, we're all going to choose a side, but, it's just choosing bad over worse. And the simple fact is all politicians are parasites. I don't care which side they're on.
Can I comment on that, Paul?
Yeah, absolutely.
And stay on the line. I don't disagree with you. I would say the majority of politicians, both on the right and the left, are out for themselves. I agree. And I think most of them, not all of them, but most of them are parasites. I agree with what you just said for the most part. As far as choosing a side, Paul, you have the right to vote for the lesser of two evils. And anyone has that right. I choose not to. I didn't vote for Hillary Clinton. I didn't vote for Donald Trump because I don't like either of them. That's just my right, Paul. So we disagree on that.
So you didn't vote at all, right?
I did not vote, no, because I did not support either candidate.
That's a
Paul.
solid moral stand,
That makes
Brian.
two of us.
Good work.
Yeah.
I did the same as you.
Okay, so we agree on that then.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
Yeah.
like I said. I mean, it's kind of like I was in the military, and our kind of a statement that we made was hope for the best but expect the worst.
Right. No, Paul,
And
listen.
that's kind of what we have here.
Make no mistake about it. It is sad that these are the best candidates in this country that we can find. It's sad. It's a joke. There are a lot of really intelligent, smart people out there, good people that I think would do better serving this country. And I'm waiting for that to happen. I think there are a few candidates on the Democratic side that I could support, but there's nobody that really excites me.
It's time to run, Oprah. You're ready to go.
Well, I don't know if
Come
I would.
on, Mark Cuban.
Why? I think that it's as people, there are not enough requirements for someone to become a candidate.
Yeah.
It's what it is the only thing they have on each other is to smear each other.
Yeah.
Well, I've never slept with my brother's wife, or
Right.
that's what
Right.
that's what they hang their hats on. And I never slapped my wife around, but I do have 5 kids with 4 other women, but they were all
Right.
bad women, and it was their
And
fault.
a trapdoor in my basement.
Yeah, Paul,
Yeah.
I appreciate your comments, Paul, and I don't disagree with anything you said. But
all I have to say is,
Yeah.
calm down a little, man. You're gonna blow a gasket.
that's what I do, Paul.
Take it easy.
I really appreciate that, Paul.
I got passion, Paul, but you are right. Sometimes I do blow a gasket.
I think it's that hat.
No, it's when JD shows up an hour late to the show and shows up in the middle of the segment.
That
That's what-
hat's giving you a little too much passion
Oh,
today.
by the way, for people that have no idea the hat that I'm wearing that are listening right now, go to our YouTube page.
Yeah, what is that
plug
anyways?
it, thevegastake.com.
Is
702
that snakeskin?
I don't know. 702-257-5396 is the number to call. Again, 257-5396. Let's go to Steven. Steven, you're next on the Vegas Take. What's up?
Hey, what's up, Steven?
Hey, what's up? What's up, fellas? Hey, let me say something I want to say something to JD. JD, I mean, I really can't believe you honestly believe that Hunter Biden and Joe Biden, they were in Ukraine for some nefarious reasons. There was a multiple country basically opinion that the prosecutor was corrupt and he wasn't investigating nobody. So you keep bringing it up, and then the CIA or the FBI, all intelligence agencies said they had nothing to do with it. Secondly, Donald Trump was never a successful businessman. He's a liar. He's a crook. His daughter's right now has got all kind of patents in China. The younger Don Jr. is a loser. He's a dummy. Okay, so I don't know how you defend
And a poacher. He's also a poacher.
Say what now?
He's also a poacher. He likes to kill endangered animals for sport.
But I don't care. We know that's his ego. We know. So he goes out and hunts and all that.
I think he just.
All right.
I think he has a lot of anger towards his father, and he takes it out on endangered animals.
Steven, hang on the line. Hang on the line.
Yeah.
JD, I want you to respond to those comments.
Here's the deal with Hunter Biden. He was discharged from the Navy for cocaine use. He has.
what?
I'm just saying he's not exactly a great source. Why was Ukraine? Let me finish, please. Why was Ukraine paying him 60? Considering he's not a Ukrainian, he's a United States citizen. Why are they paying him? Why are they paying him $60,000 a month to get into a field that he has absolutely zero experience and or business being in, especially with a company like Burisma, who may be attached to a corrupt Ukrainian government?
So what?
What do you mean? So what? So why would a company like that want Hunter Biden? Why would they want him? How is Hunter Biden helping? How is Hunter Biden helping that company unless he's got a direct connection to his father, who happens to be the vice president of the United States? Oh, exactly. And what's his father doing? And what's his father doing for that company? And is his father getting compensated under the table to that company? Those are the questions that I ask. It would be different if he was a stand-up citizen. He's not.
All right, let's let Stephen respond. Go ahead.
But we already know it's been over 6 years, and there's no criminality there, no criminality at all. So it's just a spin game for what the Republicans and especially the senators and the congressmen, they keep throwing his name up. It has no significance to Trump. What he wanted from the new president was to put out dirt on the potential running mate, and he didn't even want him to investigate.
I think that's obvious. That's obvious. Any reasonable person would agree with that.
Right.
And that being said, I don't think he even needed dirt on Joe Biden. He's going to destroy Joe Biden. It's not going to be a conversation.
Are you smoking?
I'm being 100% honest. Joe Biden is Donald Trump light with less money, less charisma, and less of a social media following or an understanding how to leverage it properly. He's also ridiculously awful at marketing.
First of all, Joe Biden.
Donald Trump will wipe the floor with Joe Biden in 2020, whether he looked into him or not. The issue is here. His son. No. And the Republicans, they're concentrating on 2020. The Democrats are still concentrating on 2016. They're trying to win. They're trying to win an election they already lost. The Republicans they're several steps ahead right now. I'm dead serious right now. And you've called in multiple times, and you asked me the same question multiple times, and my responses maintain the same.
JD, well, you know what? Good luck drinking that Kool-Aid, man.
All right, we appreciate the call, Stephen.
Good call.
Thank you. I think Stephen made some valid points. I don't agree with everything he said. By the way, just for the record, let's be clear here, because I think you said that Hunter Biden is the one that was poaching animals. We were talking about Don Jr.
No, I said Don Jr. poaches animals.
Okay,
yeah,
maybe I misheard what you said. But look, the bottom line is this. We talk about what's reasonable and what's not reasonable. There is nothing against the law for someone to get a job because of who their father is, if their father happens to be the vice president. We know that Hunter Biden got this job and he got the connection because the vice president. The same reason why Donald Trump's daughter is making all this money with her deals in China.
Donald Trump's daughter's working for herself. She has her own brand.
So she hasn't benefited
she's getting trademarks.
That's absurd.
She's not working with a company that's working with a corrupt government.
Do you realize that she went over?
It's a totally different conversation, Brian.
No, it's not. And
yes,
I'll tell
it is.
And I'll tell you why.
She's just getting her own trademarks.
No, it's not, and I will tell you why. She has made numerous trips to China after her father became the hold on, let me finish.
For her cosmetic line.
Her father became the president of the United States, and you cannot look me in the face and say she would have gotten these deals done if her father wasn't in office. Certainly not the deals. If you look at the financial gain that Ivanka Trump and her sons and the Trump brand has made since their father has become the president. What are we talking about here, JD? I'll tell you.
Which is that's capitalism.
No,
it's the same reason why Trump is having foreign dignitaries stay as hotels and golf at his golf courses and making money off that. That's just capitalism.
You got to let me finish. The point I'm trying to make is this, and it is a very simple point. Donald Trump's family has profited off the fact that Donald is the president of the United States.
Let me
finish. Okay, let me finish. The reason why Hunter Biden profited, and we're talking about money here. When it all comes down to it, it's money. Hunter Biden profited off the fact because of the connections that his father was the vice president. Donald Trump's kids have profited off the fact that their father is the president of the United States. Excuse me, there is no difference in this situation.
There is a giant difference.
There's not.
The Trump brand existed well before their father became president of the United States.
They're still profiting.
Hunter Biden,
so what?
Hunter Biden would have not gotten a sniff at that Ukrainian job.
So because they already had a business, my opinion, that's not valid. What I'm saying.
Ivanka's business is
You're not making any sense.
Of course, is cosmetics. Hunter Biden was working for a company connected to a corrupt government, Brian.
He did not break the law, so don't play that game. He didn't break the law.
We don't know if he broke the law. We
know because it's been investigated. Yes, it has.
That was a very brief investigation.
Because it was a brief investigation.
Obviously, the investigation wasn't thorough enough. That's why Donald Trump wants to look. No, I'm not.
Ridiculous
I'm absolutely
argument.
not. It's
The
not
point I'm trying to make-
unreasonable to assume that Hunter and Joe Biden were exchanging money on behalf of the company of Burisma.
There is
and
no
the Ukrainian
evidence to
government
support
based,
that.
based
So
on
if
the
you
fact
want
that he
to
worked there.
spout your conspiracy
It's
theories,
not a
fine.
conspiracy theory.
I thought- I think-
Why would they pay him $720,000 a year?
Well, I heard
when
from
he has absolutely
I
zero
heard from a
experience
Democrat
whatsoever.
you got a sex change last week. So is it valid for me to talk about that on the air?
That's not even in the
It is
same
a
conversation.
Yes, it is. It's a
Did-
conspiracy theory.
No, did they do-
you are a conspiracy
what
theorist.
was I seen at a hospital with a plastic surgeon who
Have you been
specializes in
watching-
such things?
Have you been
Of
watching?
course not.
Have you been watching InfoWars
Hunter
the last
Biden,
couple
Hunter
days?
Biden was literally paid $720,000 by a country.
He didn't break the
by,
law.
By a company
Do you
in
know
the
how
country
much
that,
money
that
Ivanka
wasn't
Trump
a
has
citizen.
made?
Yeah, of
Do you know how
course.
much money she's made in the last couple of years? And now her bottom line has skyrocketed since her father became the president. JD, hold on a second.
Again, Brian, she owns those.
We're
companies.
talking about
she owns
money.
those products. Hunter Biden was just he was a tag along situation.
Okay, let me explain this one more time because I don't think you understand what I'm saying.
No, you don't get it. Ivanka Trump is
I don't
she's
get
getting
it.
her
You're
own
right.
trademarks
I don't
for
get it.
her
You're right.
own companies. Hunter Biden was being paid by a company who wanted
doesn't
favors from the
matter.
United
It
States.
doesn't
A
matter.
large amount of money.
It
and I would
doesn't
say,
matter.
And I would say the chances are very strong that Joe Biden and Hunter Biden were exchanging money on behalf of Burisma
All right, we got to try to squeeze
Ukraine
in
and the
all
relationship
right,
with the
maybe
United
not.
States.
I want to try to squeeze in. I have 20 seconds for each of these callers because then we got to go to break. Let's go to Chris. Chris, I got 20 seconds for you. I'm up against a break. Go.
What's up, Chris?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing great.
Good. Hey, man, this is apples and oranges. What your conversation is? The Trump family already had business. All
Doesn't
over
matter.
the
They're
world.
still profiting. They're still
Hunter
profiting.
Biden is just a flunky doing
Okay,
blow in
say
the
goodbye to
Navy.
this guy. Say goodbye to this guy. Say goodbye to this guy. No, it's not. They're both profiting off the fact that their fathers are in office. Let's go to Joel. Joel, you're next. Go ahead.
What's up, Joel?
Okay. More importantly, did the Bidens break U.S. law or Ukrainian law?
Ding, ding,
If it's
ding, ding,
US
ding,
law-
ding. There you go.
if
You're
it's
right.
U.S. law. Why in the hell didn't Trump get the FBI or the CIA to deal with it? If it's Ukrainian law, they broke.
Exactly.
Why does Trump care at all?
Exactly. Joel, that is such a great point. Trump could have gone to the DOJ. He decided not to. And we got that clown who called in before you who attacks Hunter Biden for doing drugs. You know, that's the same guy who attacks people on the left 24/7. Good grief. All right, coming up next, legendary UNLV quarterback and NFL quarterback Randall Cunningham. Next on the Vegas Take. We'll be back right after this.